but I do love beef, right? So I'm in my room last night, and I get a text from my good friend Jody here, and he's telling me that he's having a full-blown argument with his doubles partner and his doubles partner's coach. So it's Jody Clement Shidek, he played US Open qualies last week. He's top 2 something in singles, and his coach is Matt Enger.
Oh yeah, Matt's
Yes.
a lovely guy.
So you know who Matt Enger is.
I do.
No, I'm scared now. I'm scared now.
So Jody texts me, and he says, "What do you do? It's doubles team. The server serves a serve wide,
Okay. Deuce court, ad court.
deuce court, slice wide,
Yeah.
and he's asking me what is the server's job to cover? Is it
Serving a
do
volley.
you cover middle? He's serving a volley. Is he
Okay.
covering middle or wide? Shidek? Well, no. Your thoughts first, and then we can.
My
break
thoughts.
down.
Okay, so a couple of questions. So like you're talking about regular position. You're starting in regular position. Server serves wide, and the question is, what is the server supposed to cover?
Yeah. Who moves where?
I mean, ultimately, you sort of follow the path of the ball. So if the serve is wide, the net player, the server's partner, goes a little bit to the left, and the server covers a little bit more of the middle than he would had it been a T-serve.
Our respect for you has just grown even more.
Clem,
I don't know what the guy's talking about. I don't know what the guy's talking about.
Another word from you, Clem. Another word. No, because let me tell you what we've been arguing. And to show you how much we've been arguing, I've been drawing last night. I have
You got ropes out. You got it all diagrammed out, or what?
You think I'm kidding? And I said, this is what Clem wants me to do. because bro, he's telling me that the server is behind. Obviously, if I'm serving, I'm going to be behind the volley. So he's saying that he is supposed to cover the line and the middle. So he's Superman all of a sudden. He can cover everything. And then I'm coming in behind. So
and he's 5'9". Like, he can't get there. Come on.
And if the ball passes the server, the first volley, then I can see that it's passing the first volley and make it. But my priority should be to cover the angle cross. I said, bro, how often do you get beat angle cross on a slice out wide? Like, you hit a bad serve and maybe they catch like the outside of the ball. Like, you know? And then I started calling people, bro. Sorry, go on.
Oh, okay, here's another take. I said that's pretty tough. Here's another take on that. If you are getting beat angle with an angle return off of that serve, your serve probably wasn't good enough. The serve is probably the problem.
And then
someone's got to go hit that serve a little bit better.
And then we started talking about, not me and him, because I argued with him and he wasn't giving in, whatever. And then I started talking with my coach about like return position. So if the returner is far back, like let's say it's a singles player that stands far back, they're going to have even more angle. Because if I slice wide, they're going to have angle to dip it cross angle. So in that situation, I understand that if you, like, I don't know, if you're scared of whatever, then you want to, I don't know. But if they're up close, then the returner can't bend the ball back in down the line, you know? So maybe the middle person, the net person doesn't have to guide so much down the line. Maybe they can stay a little bit more central. But like overall, I think the way I see it is you try to cover as much of the court as possible. And if you want to leave that little corner of the court as my diagram, that's too good right here.
Yeah, I agree.
Beat me right there.
I mean, it's all about
beat me right here. It's all
about where the ball is going to pass. Yeah, exactly. It's all about where the ball is going to pass the net, right? I mean, if he's way out, as you said, if you hit a decent wide serve and he's quite far out of the court, let's say outside the doubles alley, even if he hits it cross court, it's going to have to pass like a little through the middle. So, you know, there's no reason for anybody to cover the short angle. But if he hits it down the line, like it's not going to have to be a true down line. It can kind of come from outside in. So the net player has a little bit more responsibility. I'm not a big advocate of covering the line because I feel like you should get beat through. If you're going to get beat, you get beat through the alley. But in that situation, the ball may not even come through the alley and beat you in the alley, right? So you have to respect it a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
I love it.
Voice of reason, right here. You heard it here first. I don't have any more controversial. Is that even controversial? That's the only first time I've ever heard that one. But with all respect to Matt Angle, by the way.
Pretty cut and dry, I would say, Chidek. I lost some respect for the tennis brain there.
You know what? Last night I started calling people. I called Evan King. He didn't answer. I called Rob Galloway. He didn't answer. But then he texted me, said the same thing. And then I called Nadavasov. He didn't answer. But then he called me back. But at that point, I was already going to
Bro,
sleep.
these people they don't like you or what? The guy
Yeah, I was
said
just
he
gonna
called
say
people and no answers.
you gotta get some better friends there, dude. Some people
No
that pick up the
answers.
phone.
because people hate a phone call. I realized you have to text them first and be like, warning, I'm about to hit you with this. You know, Cleve Harper told me he agreed with me. He answered. But so okay, can I nerd out a little bit on doubles? Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it. Let's go.
Okay, so let's start with the serve, right? So can you talk me through your mentality as a serving team? So are you serving to get your partner involved as much as possible? How often do you go for 3 points, aces? Do you serve according to the weakness of the opponent's return? Like, do you avoid angles? What I guess is your mentality in your system when you're serving?
So I think that's different for everyone, right? For me, my serve has been something I've relied on for a long time. It's one of my strengths in my game. So for me, I feel like I would rather take my chances with it, right? So I'm not looking to set up my partner necessarily. I'm not looking to play for a certain position. I'm looking to win the point off my serve. I'm looking to hit the first serve and the ball to not come back. So that means hit spots, go for my serve, go, as big as I can. Obviously mix it up and do all those things, but I'm not really looking like too far past the serve itself. A lot of some guys like to prefer maybe like 75% in with 75% win. I look at more like I want to be more like at 60 to 65 in, because that means I'm really going for it, but like 80 to 85% win, because I feel like it also sets the tone better for the way that I want to play. I want to make my opponent feel like when I'm serving, they're lucky to sort of get it back and get in the point, because I feel like the number of points you win might actually equate to the same, but the feeling you get, when you feel like you're not really making a headway on someone's serve, because I've been there on the other side, is pretty terrible. So for me personally, I'm not really looking at anything else other than I want to hit my spots, I want to mix it up, and I want to try and make the ball not come back.
So what happens then in a situation where you're going for it and the percentage drops, like you said? Does that change anything with the second serve? And what's the mentality then on the seconds?
Yeah, so like if I miss 2 or 3 in a row, then I'm maybe not like first serves. I mean, maybe I would try to hit one into the body. I still want to go aggressive with it. I still want to hit it big and physically, but maybe I bring in the targets a little bit to get the rhythm, right? I've always also felt the same way about my second serve. If I better be going for my second serve. Maybe it's not going to be quite the same where the ball doesn't come back, but I still want to have a pretty significant advantage in the point, even if it's a second serve of mine. Again, it's not always equates to more points won, but it equates to a feeling of their opponent feeling like they're really under pressure when I'm serving. So yeah,
Okay.
and it's one of the things we practice the most is serving under pressure, serving to spots, serving, big. It's a big part of, the whole makeup.
And then when you call plays for your partner to move or stay and stuff, do you do that according to, I guess, what is the somewhat of a rule for projecting where the ball is going to go? So if you're serving body backhand to someone, are you projecting that the easiest return for them is to pull it across their body, and the same with the forehand across their body? Or does that depend on the person? Is there what goes through your mind in those when you're calling plays?
Yeah, like that for sure is a kind of a general rule that it's easier to pull the ball as opposed to hit it off. So body backhand, it'd be easier to hit cross court player down the line, and forehand body the same way. So that's one thing. I think it also depends on the player. I think it also depends a little bit on the surface and the condition. If it's a slower court, maybe you would, you would try and adjust that a little bit. So for example, if I'm serving, T in the deuce court, it's a little slower court. Maybe I'd be more likely to cover left, because maybe the returner can get around the outside of the ball a little bit more and hit that shot. If it's a super fast court, I feel like that's really tough. So I would make my partner go right if it's from I formation a bit more. But I think so much of that is really mixing it up to keep your opponent off guard and off balance, so they don't feel like they really got a good handle on what's happening.
Okay. Last question about, okay, 2 more questions actually about serving. So if you find yourself in a rhythm on a specific serve, let's say you're going deuce side down the tee and you've hit it, boom, 15 love, and then whatever happens on the ad court happens. You go there again, 30-15. Like, how often are you going to beat that same drummer until you you do something different and you mix it up, or are you mixing right from the start?
Yeah, that's another good question. I mean, I probably feel
Thank you.
like I want to make sure I have that serve in the locker for a big point. So I'm not going to go there every time, but if I'm really feeling it, if I'm feeling like I'm winning a real high majority of the points, I'm going to go there quite a bit. I would probably throw in the odd like wide serve from the same position, just to spice it up a little,
I
if you
have
will,
this
just
one
to make
too.
my opponent.
I
Yeah,
have
maybe
this
pee
one,
on
but
his
I have
toes.
this one too.
Yeah, but I know that in a big point, if I'm feeling that serve, especially if it's the T serve, the one that brings the ball towards the middle of the court in doubles, which does get my partner potentially involved a bit easier. I'm going to hit it on a big point.
Okay. And then lastly on serving, how important is I formation, and when do you decide when to play I formation or when to play regular or just regular switches and stuff?
Yeah, sometimes it's a lot of the guys prefer serving from the middle of the court. I mean, I played singles for a long time, so I actually do prefer probably serving from the middle of the court better. Sometimes it's surface dependent, but also sometimes it's opponent dependent. I feel like, if you have a great returner on the other side, especially on second serve, I think the chances of them catching a return and hitting it by you is better on I, whereas on regular formation, you cover the court a little bit better as a serving team. So if it's a great returner on the other side or someone who's feeling, quite good, I would probably switch to playing more regular, just because I feel like, yeah, you're going to have to play a volley probably, but at least it's not going to like just go whizzing by you. So I
You know
think
what's
it's
funny?
it's dependent a lot on the.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was gonna say, you know what's funny is you're describing as someone who's like at the top of the game. You're describing if someone's a really good returner, you don't go I. And in the futures and sometimes in the challenges, I say that if the returner is a really bad returner, don't go I, because it's too easy for them to hit like a lucky shank or lucky miss hit that goes over the guy switching or whatever. Like I prefer to just try and make someone. This is the space that the net person is not at. Good luck trying and hit that. And then if they hit it, I'm
Yeah,
there to
yeah.
cover it. And if not, the net person will put it away.
I'm not saying. Look, I'm not saying that my way is the only way, right? I've had a bit of success thinking about, like, for example, okay, my partner currently, Nikola Mektic, I've played him in I don't know how many big matches, too many that I'd want to remember, because he got me a lot of times. But like, he was a
Serve
guy that,
technique crazy, by the
yeah,
way.
served, yeah, a lot of technique is crazy, but man, he gets it done. His resume will tell you that it's not so crazy,
He's
right?
a
But I
joke. He's a
mean,
joke. But I just watching. I was like, what is going on there? But
yeah, but
unreal.
against a
Yeah.
guy like him, obviously I played 6 years with Joe. We played him and Pavic especially quite a lot, and we played a lot of regular to Mektic, because it just felt like every time we went he got it around the guy, and then as a server you had to run further to get it, put us in a way worse position. Whereas out of regular, at least you're like, okay, I'm going to have to hit a first volley, but I'm in a much better position once that's over to like defend the point after that. Because when the guy was feeling his return, it was like, no matter what serve anyone's going to hit, he's going to, feel like he's going to put it at your toes or make the return. So he's a good example of a guy that we played a lot of a regular against, because he was such a good returner.
Okay.
And you have something else, Jody?
Oh, I have a lot more. That was just serving.
Oh, because I just wanted to say, I'm not gonna lie and sit here like act like I watch all the doubles matches that you play, but the final, I thought you hit some unreal returns. Like, we're talking about a lot of serving, but I thought that you hit some unreal returns and some big moments there. Like,
Can you
so
just
like
wait?
one, there was
Can you
like
just wait? Can you just wait for me to just get to that part of the class?
trying to show some love and respect,
Class,
you know.
class,
Yeah,
please
yeah.
be quiet when the class is in session. So
It's
now
your
we're gonna
turn.
talk
Go
about
crazy.
we're
I'm
gonna talk about
check out
returning.
for
Okay, okay. So
Okay.
let's
Talk
start
about
with
doubles.
this.
Yeah.
Let's start with this. So, what decides which side a person returns on typically? How do people normally decide that? What kind of goes into play there?
Yeah, I mean, I played both. I think one thing people sort of neglect a lot of times is where you prefer to hit a second shot and where you prefer to poach from as a volleyer, right? It's not just the return. It's like, when your partner hits a return, how effective can you be? Are you more comfortable poaching with your forehand or your backhand, or sort of getting involved? Are you more comfortable hitting a second shot a certain way? I've always felt like, in general, this is a very general statement, but maybe the more solid returner would play the ad court, and the more maybe creative, athletic, person with a little more variety plays the deuce court. Because like, if you lob over the net player in the deuce court, if you're playing a righty, it's generally over that person's backhand. So it's, I just feel like the deuce court player, if they're a little bit more athletic, let's say, your deuce court player is right-handed, then you just sort of have, I don't know, a little bit of something to start the games with that can be a little intimidating. Whereas the ad court person, if they're a solid returner, a lot of the bigger points, a lot of the pressure points, especially in the majors when we don't play sudden death deuce, happen on the ad side. So you'd want that setup to happen on the big points as opposed to maybe the other way around. Also, I feel like if it's a righty lefty combination, the righty would go in the ad and the lefty would go in the deuce because you have your forehands in the middle. I think that's another thing.
Okay, and then this is something that you don't see very much down the lower levels of the challenges. And I actually tried it today, like in training, and we did horrendous at it. I don't think we won 1 point at it. But like Justin said, watching some of the videos about you, like just trying to do a little bit of research, I saw a lot of like 2-back returning, and if they go T, you would take a return, or the partner would take a return, whatever, and you guys would switch. So can you talk to us a little bit about that and tell us, I guess, one, the reason why? I mean, I have a theory, obviously, it's in my opinion, whatever. I have a theory. And then 2, how hard was it for you to learn this? Because we tried it today and we were dog shit at it. So, yeah, I'd just like to know a little bit more about that, please.
I mean, yeah, Joe and I just started doing it. I can't remember what year it was, but basically the issue was for me, if I get stretched to my forehand, there was 2 things. One, I hit it a lot better, my forehand return, if I got stretched, if I just sort of kept going. And number 2, I just wasn't fast enough to, like, even if I did hit a decent return, to stop and change directions and hit a running backhand, It was less important for him because, one, he's way faster than me, and so he was able to like hit the return and come back, but also he was running towards forehand, which gave him some more options. But it basically started like that, and then we kind of felt like, it kind of had been like 2 or 3 years since we started doing it. But in the beginning, it felt like, there was a bit of confusion on the other side. Like people didn't know what was happening. They didn't know who was where. And they just felt like, because of the movement, they just hit worse shots. The first volley wasn't as good. They were maybe unsure of, where they wanted to go, where the forehand is, where the backhand is all of a sudden. And we got some errors out of it. So we just kind of kept doing it. It was sort of like there was no negative, I guess, in it. It was more like, everything seemed to be better off. So just sort of kept doing it.
But so how long did it take to adjust though? Because I'll tell you what kept happening to us today. And we actually didn't do it well until the end of the set. And I think I missed a return or something when it was like I was about to do it well or something. But what kept happening is if I'm on the ad side and they go stretch forehand, okay, it's pretty clear that I'm stretching to a forehand that we should probably switch. But if it goes like a little bit central and body forehand, then I'll go like a little bit this way. So my partner sees I'm taking a forehand, but I'm not like fully stretched. So he's getting ready to run. Yeah. And it happened 2 or 3 times where either he hit like a little bit body backhand and I'm across and now there's no one in the ad side, or I go body forehand and he's across and I'm still here, no one's in the do side. So like how do you time that? How do you judge that? And there was another time where I tried to communicate to him not to switch, but I said no as he was swinging. So then I distracted him. He was like, "What did you just say?" And I said, "I should not have said a word, bro. I'm so sorry." So yeah. How is that adjusting?
So I'll tell you, for us, like I said, for me, Joe is one of the best athletes I've ever seen, like on a tennis court. So like he would always just be like, "Look, you do what you do, and I'll adjust." So he's like, "If I see you switching, I'll just wait and go after you. If even if I hit the return and I see you switching, I'll go after you and I'll get the next ball," or whatever. So it was more of that. And then for me now, playing with a new partner that maybe isn't quite as used to it, if I hit the return, I'll just make sure I like hit it and say switch, and he'll hear me, and that's it. Like it's so yeah. Does it mean we're gonna get it right every time? No, for sure not. But we just try our best to get it right, and it's more of like making sure, as I think as the returner, you're the one that decides if you're switching or not. Because ultimately, what you're feeling up there, right?
Okay. But ultimately, again, the person who's not the returning partner, or whatever, stands a little bit central and a little bit forward so that you're not next to each other bumping it, right? Like the returner's going to switch behind.
Always. The returner switches behind and the partner switches in front. That is it has to happen, because otherwise you're going to run into each other. Yeah.
I don't think we got 1 point today where we did it successfully and then we got the second ball. It was just a disaster. Like for sure, because I never see it in challenges. Never, ever, ever. So then and I just started challenges. Now obviously I would never have seen it in futures, but like for sure the other guys, because the first couple times it happened, we both like started moving and we're in the middle of the court and the ball's by us or something, and for sure the other two guys are looking like, what the fuck is going on here?
What
are
is
these
going
guys
on with
doing?
these two over there?
These guys are going out first round 100%. Okay, last thing on returning. Justin, are you with us? You good?
Yeah, man, I'm locked in.
Okay, sorry. Last thing on return. So
Baby's okay back there?
Yeah, she's doing good. Don't worry.
The last thing on return is, so yeah, Justin was saying, obviously complimenting the good returns, and I watched also those highlights as well. And what I noticed were a lot of returns, body returns, but not across the body. So you were taking like late backhand returns and going like on the same side of the body, like returning line or something. So how important is that to you as a returner? Is that something that people don't really talk about that often or practice, or is that something that you pay attention to?
You mean like hitting the return the opposite way off the body?
Yes.
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously, like you just said, I mean, people are not stupid. They're going to figure out that it's easier to hit the return across the body if they serve. So, like, if it's backhand body, they would cover left for a righty, regardless of, which side they're playing. So, yeah, it's hugely important to be able to hit the return the opposite way. In that particular match, in the finals of Cincy, they started crossing. They weren't playing I, but they started crossing on me a lot when they would serve backhand body. So, like, Sonego would serve and Musetti would cross. They got me a couple times. Like I hit some decent returns and they got me a couple times. So I just sort of, at that 1-3-0 point in the breaker, I was like, if I get this return in the backhand, I'm hitting it down. It doesn't even have to be good. I ended up hitting it out of the screws. Like I didn't, obviously you can't plan for that, but like, I'm like, this ball is going down the line no matter what, just so even if we lose the point, they're not feeling like they can just do that play successfully over and over again. Right. So like for me, it was a bit of awareness in that moment to say I've lost 2 or 3 points because I've hit good returns, but they've crossed. So this one has to go down the line, even if Musetti doesn't cross, just to have that in his mind that I'm not only going to hit the backhand return cross court, But I do feel like it's a super important thing to practice to hit the returns the opposite way because most people will cover what is the easier shot.
Okay. Justin, you were saying something about a specific return.
That same when he's talking about that backhand line, he like punched it like nasty one and give a good big come on.
Yeah.
The last two things would be one, is there any
that was the last one?
No, last two things. I'm nerding out, bro. We never have doubles guys on the podcast. Last person was Rob Galloway, and your phone died after 20 minutes. Not like, come on.
Yeah, I got my shit plugged in here. Don't worry about that. We're good.
Strategic.
No, Justin's phone is who died, bro. Justin's own. Justin was at the park at some tournament, and his phone died mid-episode, bro. He did not care about doubles at all. So, are there any? Is there anything that's overlooked? For doubles players, like something that people wouldn't expect, because a lot of people talk about doubles and they practice this like reaction volley drills at the net and stuff, but what's most important to you for doubles, and is there anything that's overlooked?
Absolutely. Teamwork's the most important thing. Forget about throw all that other serve, return, volley down the line, throw it all out the window. If you're not a good team and you don't play and win and lose and compete as a team, it doesn't matter how good your serve is. It doesn't matter how good your return is. You will, when it comes down to it, as most doubles matches do, they come down to sort of, a few points. I think even more so than singles. You will not win those points if you're not playing as a team. If flat out, I will take two guys that sort of can gel with each other and can help each other be in a better mental state, rather than two guys that are like super well trained and coached and hit all the right shots, but don't do that for each other. So like a big portion of it, I got so lucky to work with a guy named Louis Caillé, who is the kind of considered the doubles guru of, the world, really. He's employed by the British Tennis Federation. And because I played with a Brit, I got to spend a lot of time with him. And everyone talked about, he was going to talk about percentages and positioning and all that. Man, the guy, the first lesson we had, the first time we were on the court together, he talked about the performer. And he was like, this is all about you and Joe being together as a team and you creating the kind of energy that will, in the biggest moments, make each other play the best. Had nothing to do with stand here, hit this kind of shot, technique, nothing. He's like, if you can't get that right, the rest of the stuff doesn't matter. And I truly believe that. I mean, we won so many matches because we did that better than most. And I'll tell you what, the last thing I'll say on that is we were good at it. The Bryan brothers were like the ultimate at it. I mean, these two guys are twins and played with each other forever. And I had these discussions with Bob. I was lucky enough to, he helped me a lot on this stuff. And he always talked about how you make the magic happen. And he was like, it's all about that. It's not about anything else. So, I mean, I think it's the most important thing. And I think it's super overlooked.
Okay. Thank you. Justin, you may carry on with your podcast, sir.
No. Have you ever tried the partnership?
Guys on the phone over here, No.
The mother of that child just called me, so okay. I had to send a quick text. That was not to be rude. I apologize. But,
do you remember? I'm not even gonna say it. Go on. Thanks for watching this clip. If you want to watch the full episode, the link is in the description down below.